types of coffees that you could get at a
Starbucks or right.
something. So, but a lot of people don't know what exactly is behind the Missions Cafe. Where that goes, how's that happening with our church community and stuff. So maybe you want to fill some people in, and then
yeah. I mean, it's been a progression because we had the mission. We call it. By the way, we're calling it the Missions Cafe.
Yeah.
And we had it in our former building that we were in, and then when we came and moved over here, we started it up again, and it's gone through several transitions. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, we really needed to upgrade the building, and because of COVID, right. It put us a whole year behind with permits and everything like that. But we're so proud of the way it looks. We're very happy. I thank God for Bruce and Roger especially, and Roberto and all the people that have worked and the people who have given to make it happen. I mean, we have a lot of hard work and a lot of money in that cafe.
Pastor Ken painted.
Yeah, and just
Pastor
everybody
Ken
that's
cleaned.
Helped and everything.
Yeah.
But we do everything for a reason.
That's right.
And a church never gives enough money to missions.
Yeah.
And the people that have been here for a while know that we publicly said, for this period, for this season, I should say, of our church's life, we're going to put aside building churches in Africa, because we've built 3 since I've been here. We also gave Pastor Wayne a huge sum of money to buy a truck in Africa. Yeah. And we've given to other missions and had missionaries. But we knew that we wanted to focus, and I use the term not dip into the well too often.
Sure.
And that is to go to your people for too many offerings and too many different things. But as you know, we felt like, as a team, we felt like we needed to focus on the house, on our church, and to get the building straightened out and to do the coffee cafe. Yep. And I would say that, the reason why is every church doesn't give enough money to missions. And we thought, actually, Pastor Mark Batterson at National Community Church in Washington, D.C., the one who wrote In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day and all the other 20 books that he's written, started Ebenezer's Coffee House. And he has said over and over that we did this to employ people of the church and to be an outreach to our community, because they're able to open it up 7 days a week.
Wow.
And their whole plan was...
So it's an active cafe.
It's an active cafe in the community with internet, and people can come and chill and get good coffee and have a safe place to be, and they play Christian music. And but they've been voted the #1 coffee house in the Washington, D.C. area. And their first year, they made enough money after paying all their expenses, their employees and everything, to give $100,000 to missions. Wow. And Pastor Mark, the last time he was at one of our conferences, said that their prayer is that they could have 10 coffee houses. It'd be like having 10 Dunkin' Donuts, around the city. Yep. And if every one of them made $100,000 profit at the end of the year, that would be an extra $1 million to missions.
That's awesome.
And so, do I think that our little cafe is going to rise to that level? Probably not. Yeah. But that's really why we're doing it, is because we would like to serve new people that come to our church, have quality, specialty coffees and things like that, and food, and give people understanding that that everything, the profits left over after all of our expenses, it's all going to go to missions. So it's a good cause.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great. I can't wait.
Yes.
And we have many missionaries that we support throughout the world right now.
So every year, Pastor Ken and I have gone through our list of missionaries, and we kind of pray about it and talk about who do we want to support, what area, because there's so many different areas of ministry that people are involved in.
Yep.
And so, we wish we could support all 2,000-3,000 of our missionaries, but we can't.
And God knows who and where it needs to be the most.
Right. And so we'll do that again this year. And I'm just happy that we can, if we get our coffee cafe off the ground, which we know we're going to, that we can, over and above what people give towards missions, that the coffee cafe will help out. Yeah. So I'm excited.
Me too. I'm excited just to get some good coffee out of it. So, and our folks get the opportunity to work back there and serve. And,
right.
And just another space that we get to serve each other in. So
Yep.
and I'm sure once we're finished decorating and stuff, that might be a place where we do some podcasts from too. So.
Well, and to me, it's also for our new people that come to the church. It's a great visual thing, and to have on the wall Missions Cafe and
communicate our vision.
our
why
vision,
we do
and
it,
it's just an extension, one more thing that we do in ministry at the church.
Yeah. So we were kind of talking before we jumped on the podcast today, and just talking about which direction we were feeling to go in this, and just maybe we said let's maybe dig into some just current affairs that are happening in our world right now, and part of that was I'd like to give you an opportunity just to explain why maybe certain things we don't address from the pulpit, and why we would address it in a setting like this. So
Right. Well, we were talking about politics.
yeah, politics.
And people that have been here a while know that I have preached on racism.
Yep.
I have preached on helping the poor. I have preached on a lot of different subjects that need to be talked about. There's the whole counsel of God needs to be preached, but it takes a long time to do all that.
Basically, a Christian worldview from the pulpit.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have personally always felt that my job as the pastor was not to be the chief politician.
Yeah.
And I don't talk about if I'm Republican or Democrat or any of that. No, I'm a Christian, and I talk more about values-based voting and values-based thing, and that I think that there's a time and a place for everything, and that people do not come to church to hear me talk about politics.
Yeah.
And I know other pastors have different opinions, so we'll just have to agree to disagree on that. I'm not talking about Pastor Matt either.
No, I never talked politics.
Yes, I said, no, my job is to talk Jesus. Our job is to talk about the gospel.
Yeah.
And having this podcast is a great way to talk about
That's right.
things that we really don't want to talk about from the pulpit.
Yep.
But that we can talk about, just like I was having lunch or dinner with someone, and they could say, hey, Pastor, what do you think about so-and-so, or what do you think about this going on in our country? What do you think about this? And this could be a great thing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you being a leader in our church community, and your voice matters, and because of the wisdom that you have, and I hope that but we're seeing a lot of just a huge, I feel like, deterioration of just biblical moral values in our society, right?
Yeah, to me, you're right, but to me it's a sign of the last days.
Yep.
And of course we don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah.
But we know ultimately there has to be a deterioration in order for the things in the prophetic parts of the Bible, the book of Revelation, the other Old Testament scriptures and New Testament scriptures that are prophetic. I mean, eventually there's got to be a downfall. Right. Things have got to fall apart. The world has got to come to a place to where they will accept taking a mark of the beast, almost like they've come to a place where, now we're fighting over taking a shot. Yeah. Just so everybody knows, I'm vaccinated. I don't have a problem being vaccinated. Yeah. And but we know that there's a segment. I have family members that don't want to be vaccinated, and some that are gung-ho, the exact opposite. Yep. We still get along. We still love each other.
Yeah.
But just like how the world it's all talking about getting vaccinated or not. I look at that as like, man, this is just, and I'm not the only preacher that feels this way, a precursor to somehow, some way, society getting in their brain, accepting, taking this mark of the beast, the kingdom of the beast.
Your issue isn't with the vaccination. Your issue is with the manipulation behind it.
Yeah, so. That's a good way of saying that. Well, because that's what's going to have to happen. Right. I know we're kind of getting a little off the beaten track here, but we were going to talk about mission and all that. But but the world is going to have to go that way in order for people to freely take the mark of the beast. Yeah. And I just see this whole COVID thing going across the world. Yeah. It's the first time where the world is all wearing masks. The world is talking about to vax or not to vax. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the world is shutting down their economies. Yeah. The world is...
It's not a locality anymore.
And global. And that's exactly what the Bible talks about in the last days. The whole thing will be global.
Yeah. I think for me, with all of these issues going on, what saddens me is how quickly we, the church, divide. Rather than come together and really, as darkness begins to invade, we fail to become the light. And
now's the time we need to be the church.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe, just maybe, what's going on in our world is an opportunity for us to actually step out and become the church and show them what it looks like to love even when we don't agree, or to love when someone has a different position on something, and
to live in faith.
To live in faith. Come on, that's good.
Just to be honest with you, when this first hit, we were all in the dark.
Yeah,
we didn't know what to expect, and people that follow us know that for like 6 or 8 weeks we went to my house and we broadcast.
Yep.
We stopped having church.
Yep.
And we broadcasted live from my house. Actually, it worked out pretty
good. We stopped
good.
having in-person church.
In-person
we
church.
were able to
Thank
transition.
you.
I think we did a great job.
Yes, and we had a huge turnout online. People watching us because we could see the numbers.
Yeah.
And but then we made the decision.
Yeah.
I made the decision, but we made the decision as a team that look, we need to get back to being community. We need to get back to having the togetherness. We need to start trusting the Lord when we begin to find out the truth.
Yeah.
About things.
I think and
I don't think we were the only ones that were. We were all in the same boat.
Yeah. I think we were quick about it, but not irresponsible.
Yes.
And that's what made me really proud of us as a team and your leadership in that, because we kind of evaluated all the information that was coming out. We were quick to say we need to get back together, but we didn't do it without wisdom. We were aware of what was happening, and we know coronavirus is real, but we also know the power of coming together to worship Jesus and all of that. So
right. And all the politics behind it. I mean, what a mess. This whole world has been in a mess for a year and a half.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know about you, but I think that if we were to look at the spiritual side of this, the enemy is broadcasting division, right? He's broadcasting fear and all of that, and it's in the atmosphere, right? And we have an opportunity, whether we combine the faith from what we believe in what's written in the Word and what we've been taught, or we buy into that fear. And by no means we all become fearful, right? And
of what we don't know.
Of what we don't know. And but some people can have that stronghold of fear in their life, and I think that that's what the enemy is really trying to do. He's really trying to, if he can get us to operate out of fear, we won't be able to operate out of love. Right. They can't coexist.
I just want to mention, I remember as a young Christian, Joyce Meyer once said, because I love her, and she said on one of her broadcasts when I was younger, that God always operates in a spirit of peace. And so if there's not peace there, if there's division, if there's strife, that's not God.
That's good.
Because the Holy Spirit lives in an atmosphere of peace. And so it's always been for me, I tell you, that just really hit home with me, and it's always been a way for me to help guide my thoughts and guide my actions and my decisions as the pastor.
That's good.
If I make this decision, will this bring peace? Or will it bring turmoil? You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so
it's really good.
Because we want the atmosphere of God.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting too, because it seems like over the past year and a half that with dealing with the coronavirus and stuff, it seems like as the facts come out, the fear diminishes, right? And then we almost start to kind of go back to normal life, and then the news media, which I call propaganda.
Yeah, I was going to say, the fear diminishes and my anger went up.
Oh, right.
Because, I would never say this I don't think I've ever said this from the pulpit, but I've said a few times, lying Fauci. And there's so many times that we were lied to, and we see double standards, and we see hypocrisy, and find out different information. And I understand why people are afraid and why they're confused and upset, because we've been told so many different things.
Sure.
And then they'll turn around 4 or 5 weeks later and change their mind, and people are throwing their hands up in the air and go, come on. Because you know why? Because they trust leadership. And this is the time for leadership to step up to the plate.
That's right.
And be a leader and not be, wishy-washy.
Yeah.
I mean, because what does the Bible say about a double-minded man? Unstable in all his ways.
All their ways, that's right.
And that's why the church cannot be that way.
That's right, yeah.
We made a decision we're going to come back to church, and we're not ever going to.
That's right.
I say not ever, but
Yeah.
God help us if we never get to the place where we will be where we were at the beginning of the coronavirus when we, came together on video and on Facebook instead of in person.
But that was, and that was an unknown situation. We
Right.
didn't know much about it and stuff. So, we got some major challenges. When I think about the world we're living in right now, I tend to think about the next generation and wonder how they're experiencing this world. And you mentioned like one thing about people want to trust their leaders.
Right.
And so now we have a generation that's actually coming up and being taught, not intentionally, but in full living color in front of them, don't trust leaders.
Well, even look at the thing with the general, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that's on all the news, a leader.
Yeah.
Who was talking about not trusting his boss, the president, President Trump.
Yep.
And look at all the sniping and fighting and everything that is going on. And my kids, all three of my kids are in their 20s.
Yeah.
They're 23, 27, 29, and you have some. Are they in their
20?
Yeah, in their 20s.
27 and 23.
And so whenever you always say that or we talk about, I think about my own kids and the things that they say to me and the things that we talk about.
Yep.
And church needs to make sure we do a better job than what we're doing. I'm talking about the whole church.
Yes, I agree.
In communicating and making sure that we don't say things that run off that younger generation, because from what I've seen now so far, they want reality, they want the real thing, but they're really turned off by all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And it can't be in the church.
Yeah. They're looking for the truth.
Right. Purpose.
Yep.
Something to get involved in. Something that brings life. Something that brings meaning to them.
Yeah.
Well, you could talk more about that than I could. But
I think you're tapped in just because of your own children and hearing the conversations and where that's at, and I think that church as a whole in America really drifted away from a place of being that place of finding community, being a safe place to ask questions, being a place to be vulnerable in, and somehow it got turned into this thing for whatever, like we could start making lists or whatever, and it's easy to criticize, right? It's easy to criticize, especially if you're not the one in the arena with the dust on your face, right? But the point is, we have to be able to recognize situations and bring about solutions. And so we were talking about how when you were in the Keys,
the Florida Keys,
the Florida Keys, pastoring a church, and a hurricane came, and you recognized a need that wasn't there, and through that something developed into an amazing situation, or an amazing thing that the church was able to kind of stand up and step into. If you want to share that, because I think that's where we're at right now.
Well, you're gonna get me on my high horse now.
You're
gonna make me relive an unhappy moment in my life. Okay, so in 1998, Hurricane Georges came through the Keys.
Yep.
And devastated the area, and a lot of people. Our church was damaged, a lot of homes. And Kathy and I were living on Big Pine Key at the time, and that was really hit hard. We had no electricity for 2 weeks. We could not buy gaseline. We couldn't get any money out of the ATM.
So the hurricane came. Did you evacuate, or were you there?
I'm trying to. You know what? We've had so many hurricanes. I'm trying to remember. We evacuated. One time we stayed. One time we evacuated, and then we got back in. Because being a pastor, you want to be there to help the people.
Sure.
And I was worried about our building. We had a school. I had teachers I had to worry about. We had payroll to take care of. But as I was sharing with you, and I'll try and make this short, I was really upset with our fellowship because at that time there really was no humanitarian outreach. And in my opinion, I might get skewered by other people on this, but I'm the one that lived through it. And, I bitterly complained to some of our district officials about it, that there was nothing to help us. And I said, and I told you, I said, for 2 weeks, we had no food, no electricity. You couldn't get groceries, you couldn't buy gas, you couldn't get money out of the ATM. We were basically stuck there. Part of the roads were impassable because they had been damaged and they were trying to fix the roads. And had it not been for the Southern Baptist Convention that sent a giant rig, a truck, tractor trailer rig that was this portable kitchen and refrigeration, and they cooked food, and so we had 3 hots every day. So we had a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We could go to the trailer. They gave us ice. We had no ice, and we were able to get ice and water. And I'm just gonna be honest with you, I was so angry, and I said to one of our leaders, I said, I'm actually embarrassed for our fellowship. I'm embarrassed to be an Assemblies of God minister, because here the Baptists are feeding everybody on our island and taking care of everybody on Big Pine. And I threw up my hands, I go, and where's the Assemblies of God? Well, I wasn't the only one. And the cry went out across the country. And then the vision came for that type of ministry, and Convoy of Hope was born. And it's with a huge, international ministry. Now we're like the first one on the scene, and it's an amazing thing. But it took a little while to get there. Unfortunately, but it is what it is.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to be really careful, everybody. You don't want to be too critical, but
I think that most
every organization and every movement, there has to be change, and change always comes within. You know what I'm saying?
And I think too that sometimes the need has to exist first before we recognize that we could actually address that need.
Right. And it's a huge outreach for our. I mean, Convoy of Hope is nationally known now. And it's a great tool of evangelism and outreach and witness of the love of Jesus and the church for the Assemblies of God.
Well, kudos to you for recognizing a need that
I was in the middle of it. I mean, we were pretty desperate.
Totally. And but you were able to voice that to say, hey, our fellowship needs to recognize
we need to step up to the plate.
Something a space we can fill, and really touch people in a real practical way, right? And we were talking about earlier today about just how every church you've been sent to, you've found a great way to really meet the needs practically in the city, whether it's a preschool, whether it's a food pantry,
a thrift
store, a dream center, to really touch your community practically, but also to use that to bring Jesus into people's lives, and whether it's through employees, people, kids going to school, and parents showing up. I think that that's something amazing, because I think that at times we can get really inward focused, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Inward focused. And kind of like our church right now, we've gone through a season because of necessity. And we sold off property, and we're revisioning and reevaluating and retooling is what I should say.
You got to have a home base first.
And we're getting stronger, and we had to take care of a few issues with our property and all the acreage and all the buildings and all that. And now
revamping everything.
And now we're a leaner, meaner fighting machine. That's how I like to say it. And now we can start planning once again
and being purposeful, right?
And being purposeful about it, right?
I agree.
Not just throwing darts blindfolded. But to actually say, we have a plan here, and get people tied in with it.
Have a focused vision.
But in the meantime, can I just throw this out there? We could also be encouraging our people, because we said this, we might not have a food pantry right now, which we did for a long time, but we would encourage people to go serve in a food pantry. The one that the church that we gave it to, or go partner with them, because sometimes we can be better off for kingdom's sake. For the kingdom's sake, not maybe for our church, by joining with another group and say, you know what, we're not going to start our own food pantry. Let's help you be stronger. You know what I'm saying? Why duplicate, why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly.
And sometimes churches do that because I think because of bad reasons.
Yeah. So we hope you guys enjoyed the discussion today. I want to remind you guys, we'd love for you guys to get plugged in, whether it's serving in the coffee cafe, donations. We still need some equipment to get done with that.
Hey, can I give you a praise report?
Yeah.
Somebody came to me after church on Sunday when we said we need a new refrigerator, and they said, go buy the new refrigerator, we'll pay for the whole thing.
I love it.
That's amazing.
We love you guys because every time a need comes up, man, someone steps up and just fills the gap, and that's what community looks like.
And if they want to help us?
Yeah, if you guys want to help, get plugged in, drop a comment in the box. We'll get back to you, or approach any of us on a Sunday morning, and we'll help you get plugged in and involved in what's happening here. Don't forget, follow us on our Facebook page. Check out our website, even our app that has our events calendar on it. We want you guys to be plugged in and connected. We'll see you soon. Blessings.